friends! My name is Desiree, aka Mama Friendly, and I do all sorts of videos on my channel, from cooking videos to planner videos, vlogs, hauls, homeschool videos with a Disney twist, a little bit of everything. So if any of these things sound like fun to you, I hope that you'll subscribe and join me on my YouTube adventure. Speaking of a Disney twist, we're back with the cookbook collab that I did all of last year, hosted by Tamra at Southern Wife Everyday Life. And I had made it my kind of personal mission this year to do at least one Disney park recipe a month on my channel, but adapting it to gluten and dairy free. For a little bit of backstory, I've been eating gluten and dairy free for about 6-7 years now. And until Miss Rona showed up, we were avid Disney World park visitors. I'm talking we literally spent a month a year at the parks, like not all at once, but you get what I mean. So as you can imagine, I've been missing the Disney parks experience for quite a long time now, but because I've been gluten and dairy free for so long, I haven't really been able to partake in a lot of the treats and snacks and foods that a lot of people look forward to at the parks. Mostly I end up bringing my own food or eating a lot of allergy-friendly chicken tenders while we're there. Which is why I thought it would be so much fun this year to look up some fun Disney park recipes and make them so that I can fit them into my gluten and dairy-free lifestyle. Enter, this cookbook. Now last month I didn't use a cookbook, I used a recipe that I found online and I just adapted it. So I'll post that video up here where I showed you how to make Jack Jack's Cookie Num Nums that you can find at both Disneyland's California Adventure and at Disney World's Hollywood Studios. But this month, I am using the unofficial Disney Parks cookbook. I'll have this linked down below in case you'd like to get it for yourself. It's been a great cookbook. Everything I found in here has looked so amazing and so easy to make. But I'm going for something from Animal Kingdom this time. I'm gonna show you how to make Mr. Kamal's seasoned fries. Now, Mr. Kamal's is a little food kiosk that you find in the Asia area of the Animal Kingdom park. So while you're making your way towards Mount Everest, and they have samosas and falafel and all sorts of really delicious vegetarian Asian inspired foods. But one of the things that they're most famous for are these seasoned fries. So they're just French fries, right? But they have all sorts of stuff on them that just, the flavor combination is out of control. And they're served with both tzatziki and sriracha ketchup. This is not for the weak of taste bud because there is so much going on with this plate of food. It's really, really delicious, and I am very much looking forward to showing you how you can make them for your very own at home. Now I'm going to show you the dairy-free way of doing it. It's already naturally gluten-free and vegetarian, but if you want to just make it the regular way, it's a super easy fix. And I want to remind you before we get into it, this particular Disney recipe is not only part of my Disney recipes series, but it's part of that collab. So make sure before you go, you check out the link to the playlist in my description box so you can see what all of my friends made for their cookbook collab as well. Now with all that being said, let me show you how I made Mr. Kamal's seasoned fries. As always, we begin with our ingredients. So I'm going to start with our seasonings. You're going to need a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika, a 1/4 cup of salt, 3 tablespoons of garlic powder, a teaspoon of chili powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and a 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. How's that for Disney magic? For our saucy toppings, we're gonna need 3 tablespoons of honey, 2 tablespoons of sriracha, a 1/4 cup of tzatziki sauce. I love this Kite Hill brand because it's dairy free, but you can use regular. And you need a 1/2 cup of ketchup. And lastly, for the base of our dish, we're gonna need 4 cups of vegetable oil for frying and 5 large russet potatoes that we're going to peel and cut up into French fry shapes. I am terrible with a knife. I apparently am even worse with a peeler, so definitely do not look to me for advice on technique, but just do this however is easiest for you. If you have some sort of device that actually just cuts French fry shapes, then that's fantastic. I'm going analog with just a knife and doing my best. They don't have to be perfect, but just try to make them as evenly sized and shaped as you can manage so that they all cook up in about the same time. So I have my pot here and I've got about 3 inches deep worth of oil. We've heated it up to 375 degrees and I'm going to fry them in batches. You can see that I've got a plate with some paper towel off to the side so that after about 5 minutes, when the fries have reached this nice golden color, I can set them to the side to drain and work on the next batch of fries. You can preheat your oven to 200 degrees and put the fries in there if you'd like to keep them warm while we're frying. I was making kind of a small batch, so I didn't feel the need to do that. But if you're making a bigger batch of fries, that could be a good idea so that everything is still hot when you're ready to serve. So while the fries are frying, I've got this very large bowl here to mix my seasonings in. The idea being that I'm going to toss the fries in here with the seasoning when they're ready. So again, that was a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika, a 1/4 cup of salt. It sounded like a lot. I didn't use anywhere near that much. 3 tablespoons of garlic powder, a teaspoon of chili powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. We're just gonna mix it all up to combine and set it aside to wait for our fries. Next, we're gonna get to work on our sriracha honey ketchup, and that's basically exactly what it is. So we're taking our 1/2 cup of ketchup, our 2 tablespoons of sriracha, and our 3 tablespoons of honey, and we're just gonna mix them together, set it aside. We're gonna use this to top our fries along with our tzatziki. We've got our last batch of fries joining their friends on that paper towel. You could use more plates, you could use more paper towels. I was too excited to really be very organized about this, but in the end it turned out okay. And now that the fries are ready, I'm gonna toss them in that seasoning, like I said, in my very large bowl, and they're basically ready to serve. Whoops, no fry left behind. So right before serving, we're taking that tzatziki and I'm just kind of placing it in dollops around the entire plate. And when it's dressed to my liking, I'm gonna grab that honey sriracha ketchup and do the same. And we're ready to go. This is exactly how it's served at the park, except, you know, in a paper plate. But it tasted perfect. It was spot on. Of course, I ate it with a spork. Not only does that give you the whole like theme park experience, but it's just my favorite way to use any utensil. Like, you've got a fork, you've got a spoon, you don't have to choose. It's fantastic. This was delicious. 11 out of 10. For sure making this again. And it's awesome to have a taste of the parks right at home. All right, friends, that's how I made Mr. Kamal's seasoned fries. If you wanted to make this just the regular way that you'd find it at the parks, you would just use regular dairy-based tzatziki instead of the dairy-free kind I used. Otherwise, it's a complete direct copy of the recipe. It's exactly the way that you'd find it at the parks. This was so delicious. It was spicy, it was sweet, it was smoky from the cumin and the chilies and all of that. Just every flavor that you can think of was on this one plate of food. You got that cool down and the cold from the tzatziki, the hot crispy French fries. Amazing. Like, I wouldn't change anything about this. I will say that I halved the amount of seasoning that it called for, and I made the full recipe for the sriracha honey ketchup. And even halved, it was too much seasoning for the 5 potatoes that the recipe called for. So you might want to adjust either with even less seasoning, or maybe don't throw the whole bowl of seasoning into the fries at once. And the sriracha honey ketchup, again, you don't need to make all that much unless you're making way more fries. At least that was my experience. So keep that in mind. I will say though, I will fully be making this again, and actually I was thinking that with some grilled chicken on top, this would make like the best possible dinner, because there's just so much flavor and it's so hearty and so filling. Every single flavor you could think of on one plate, like I said, really, really tasty. So we'll be making this again and even adding on to it. And I'm looking forward to sharing more of these Disney park recipes. So if there's something in particular you'd like to see me try for next month, let me know about it in the comments. And before you go, I want to remind you to check out that playlist so you could see what all of my friends made from their favorite cookbooks as well. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope that you will please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you would subscribe and click that notification bell because I post at least 3 times a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. Bye!